Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing okay. This is going to be another different type of reaction here, so we're changing it up again. This is sent in by R. Young, and this is, it looks like it's Jack Whitehall and his father. What's his father's name? Michael Whitehall. So Jack Whitehall and his father, Michael Whitehall. So they're on this show, Who Do You Think You Are? And I was looking at this and I was like, why does the name of that show sound familiar? And I had actually watched a full episode on my own that involved Charles Dance, and he went through his family's history. And it was very interesting because I like Charles Dance, and I saw the thumbnail and I was like, well, this looks like something I would watch, and I watched the whole thing, and it was very cool. I probably watched it like a year ago or something. But this seems like it'll be pretty interesting. And the title of it is When You Find Out Your Ancestors Are Wrongin', which, I mean, I think means up to no good. I don't know. Let's read the description here a little bit. So, father and son comedy double act Jack and Michael Whitehall join forces to investigate their family tree. They discover the tragedy that left Jack's great-grandfather and Michael's grandfather an orphan. Ooh. And tracing their line back to Wales in the 1830s. Oh, so they're Welsh. That's it. I didn't know that. They find out about a Tory ancestor's role in opposing the Chartist movement for wider voting rights. That all sounds very interesting. So let's check it out. Here we go. Let's see how this goes.
So all over the valleys, the miners and the iron workers are angry. They're up in arms. They're forming mobs, and they're heading down towards Newport. And our ancestor is trailing them in his first-class coach, monitoring them at every point. Good that we're peeling away the layers of Thomas Jones Phillips. He's gone from being a sort of officious windbag to now being a full-blown snitch who's trying to stop a mob of people that are fighting for freedom.
Oh, wow.
Hello.
2 tickets to Newport, please.
Off to Newport we go.
Hopefully we'll see some comedy from Jack Whitehall's father, because that one compilation that I watched that he was in, he was really funny. So I'm hoping to see some old man humor from Michael Whitehall here.
On the 4th of November 1839, Jack's 4 times great-grandfather, Thomas Jones Phillips, was pursuing a band of armed Chartists marching on Newport.
I now want you to pretend that it's 1839.
Okay, fine.
Nothing extraordinary occurred until the coach reached Abercarn. There, we overtook several colliers and miners who expressed their intention to go to Newport. The coachman told them what the fare was. 1 or 2 of them paid the amount demanded, and others said they had no means. I then suspected that something disagreeable was going to take place, and expressed to the coachman my surprise at his permitting persons to occupy places on his coach without paying their fare.
Sorry to interrupt, but what he's reading from with all the cursive and stuff, I would not be able to read that very well. So props to Jack Whitehall here. Because I'm looking at that, I'm like, there's no way I would be able to read that. Dude, I write down things like a grocery list or something, or anything, and then I can't read what I wrote down. So, I don't know, maybe I got a problem.
And those persons were compelled to abandon their seats. Basically, some miners and colliers have tried to get on the bus, and then Thomas Jones Phillips has gone, oh, excuse me, these guys haven't paid. He's a perennial snitch.
So what happened then?
Well, hopefully they beat him up. We passed several groups of colliers or miners, some with guns, others with pikes. When I arrived at Newport, I went to the Westgate Inn, where I was made fully acquainted with what had taken place in my absence. What happened in his absence? I want to know.
Me too.
Jack and Michael are meeting up with local historian Rhiann Jones.
Hello again.
Hello again.
Hello, how are you? Nice to see you.
Hi.
So, we have been following the route of our ancestor. He was hot on the heels of a mob of angry Chartists who were marching on Newport, and we know that something went down at the Westgate Inn.
Yeah, unfortunately, when your ancestor arrived, he would have found the front courtyard of the Westgate Hotel full of injured and killed Chartists.
Oh no.
Around 5,000 Chartists marched on the Westgate Hotel.
Sorry, I gotta do something real quick. So let me pull off to the side so it's not interrupting anything here. Chartists. Chartism. What is it? I don't know what this is. Chartism was a working class movement for political reform in the United Kingdom that erupted from 1838 to 1857 and was strongest in 1839, 1842, and 1848. It took its name from the People's Charter of 1838 and was a national protest movement with particular strongholds of support in Northern England, the East Midlands, the Staffordshire Potteries, the Black Country, and the South Wales Valleys, where working people depended on single industries and were subject to wild swings in economic activity. Chartism was less strong in places such as Bristol that had more diversified economies. The movement was fiercely opposed by government authorities who finally suppressed it. So, yeah. The People's Charter called for 6 reforms to make the political system more democratic. A vote for every man aged 21 years and above of sound mind and not undergoing punishment for a crime. The secret ballot to protect the elector in the exercise of his vote. No property qualification for members of parliament. To allow the constituencies to return the man of their choice. Payment of members enabling tradesmen, working men, or other persons of modest means to leave or interrupt their livelihood to attend to the interests of the nation. Equal constituencies, securing the same amount of representation for the same number of electors, instead allowing less populous constituencies to have as much more weight than larger ones. And 6, annual parliamentary elections, thus presenting the most effectual check to bribery and intimidation, since no purse could buy a constituency under a system of universal manhood suffrage in every 12 months. Sounds reasonable to me. Eventually, after Chartism died out, Britain adopted the first 5 reforms. So Chartists saw themselves fighting against political corruption and for democracy in an industrial society, but attracted support beyond the radical political groups for economic reasons, such as opposing wage cuts and unemployment. Okay. A lot of this I like. And sounds like they were being brutally suppressed.
Hell full of injured
let's
and
continue.
killed Chartists.
Oh no.
Around 5,000 Chartists marched on the Westgate Hotel,
That's a lot.
where a group of their fellow Chartists were being held prisoner. 500 soldiers and special constables guarding the building opened fire on the protesters.
And how many people died?
22 Chartists died and about 50 were injured.
Oh!
So what happens after this nightmare here?
After the battle, which only lasts about 20 minutes to half an hour, the surviving Chartists scatter, but obviously there are warrants out for the arrest of anyone who took part. Which brings me to this document.
£100 reward, John Frost. The above reward will be paid to any person or persons who shall apprehend and bring to justice John Frost, who stands charged with the crime of high treason by order of the magistrates, Borough of Newport, November 4th, 1839. And the magistrates of Newport is Thomas Jones Phillips.
Yeah, well, he would have
Clerk
would
to
have
the
been
magistrates.
working for them, yeah.
Oh God. Thomas Jones Phillips isn't the guy that finds him and turns him in, is he?
The next part of the story takes place in Shire Hall in Monmouth, where some of the remaining Chartists get put on trial.
Please don't be.
To discover what became of Thomas Jones Phillips in the wake of the Newport Rising, Jack and Michael have returned to Monmouth.
If you go back far enough for anybody's lineage, you find some rotten apples, you know? I feel like I want to talk to Jack and be like, dude, we all have some crappy ancestors here and there. Further back you go, the darker it probably gets, you know? But this is very interesting. I'm liking this. I had no idea about the
Chartist.
Chartist
It's the courthouse in which all of the Chartists arrested after the Rising were put on trial.
And does our ancestor, Thomas Jones Phillips, play a part in these trials?
Oh, yes. He has to make a deposition to tell the story of what he was doing.
Thomas Jones Phillips, being sworn, saith that he is a solicitor residing at Newport. I arrived that morning, Monday the 4th, about 10:30. I assisted the magistrates in taking evidence. I then took the information of the parties who had inculpated John Frost as the ringleader of the riot. The magistrates had agreed to offer a reward of £100 for the apprehension of John Frost for high treason. Bills offering that reward for his apprehension were issued. I do not recall seeing them before I went to execute the warrant. Oh, so he's saying he didn't know that there was a...
Oh, is there a reward?
Oh, there's a reward, £100 for finding this guy that I've hated for years. Wow, that's a convenience.
Yeah.
So, Steve, you've got one final thing to show us. I presume this is going to be like a drawing of our ancestor Thomas Jones Phillips dancing around with John Frost's head on a stick.
No.
Shall we have a look? This is the criminal register from the Assize Court.
Names of offenders. John Frost. Offence, high treason. Sentence, death. Execution of capital sentence. Transportation for life. So not death.
No, ultimately not. The appeals for clemency were successful.
That's great news. There's the light. This whole thing, we've been looking for some light at the end of the tunnel, and we found it.
Transportation wasn't a sort of picnic. You know?
Okay, where does he go?
So he goes to Australia.
Australia, that's lovely.
Sure. And
Yo, I'm sorry. Just the way he said that. He's like, oh, well, where did they send him? I was expecting like prison, and we probably haven't gotten to it yet, but he probably went to a prison in Australia. But all he hears is Australia, and he goes, oh, lovely, Australia's lovely. He probably had a great time. The way that happened, I found it funny. I don't know.
We've been looking for some light at the end of the tunnel, and we found it.
transportation wasn't a sort of picnic. You know?
Okay, where does he go?
So he goes to Australia.
Australia, that's lovely.
Sure. And
Warm, sunny.
yeah. Well, it's not a holiday. You know, it's a penal colony. He doesn't die there, incidentally.
He doesn't die. Even better.
He's given a full pardon.
Well, there is a happy ending. Through all this darkness and despair and our scumbag ancestor.
So, what happened to Thomas Jones Phillips?
Well,
Sorry, I immediately thinking of, because they said they sent him to Australia to be a part of the penal colony. I heard, and this was way before I started this channel, man. I can't remember who said it. I think it was one of my sister's ex-boyfriend's friends. So he was British. Her ex-boyfriend was British. Well, he is British because he's still alive. Phil, if you're watching, I love you, man. I hope you're doing well. But it was either him or a friend of his who said, I can't remember who said it, but I remember what was said, and they said, "Yeah, we took our religious rejects and sent them to America, and we took all of our criminals and sent them to Australia." And I thought it was funny the way he said it. And yeah, it's kind of true in a way. I'm sure that it wasn't all religious rejects that went to America. It wasn't all criminals that went to Australia. But the way he said it, it was just funny, and it made me laugh. So I thought of that when I heard him say he went to Australia. Anyway, sorry.
Here's a notice from the...
And our scumbag ancestor.
So, what happened to Thomas Jones Phillips?
Well, here's a notice from the Monmouthshire Merlin.
Again.
To the ineffable grief of a numerous family, Thomas Jones Phillips Esquire died on Saturday the 30th after acute and protracted suffering. 1843, that's only 3 years after the sentencing of John Frost.
Yeah.
So he doesn't get long to enjoy his victory. So Frost wins, which is good.
I like how they're rooting for the guy and not their ancestor. There's something funny about that.
So,
They're rooting for John
where
Frost
his
and
plaque
not
is.
Thomas Jones
Charles
Phillips.
Octavius,
No. It's not there.
George.
Martin Dawes. No.
Have you found it?
Well,
Anything?
my problem is I can't read a lot of them.
The Duke of Gloucester, 2006.
He opened the shop.
Right, okay, so.
It's not on the floor, you don't think?
No, it's a
No.
wall plaque.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm going to go to the loo.
Okay.
Got him. Thomas Jones Phillips.
Oh, yes. God, look.
Read it out.
Sacred to the memory of Thomas Jones Phillips, for many years a much respected solicitor in this town.
It's actually quite sad.
It is very sad.
Seeing a plaque to one of your ancestors is a little weird. There he is, our ancestor, laid to rest above the toilet. Not a lot of light in our story.
No.
Should have done it with Mummy. And in fact, knowing what I know about you and your ancestry, I think going forward, I'm going to have to sever ties with you and focus on Mummy.
Why? Because I'm Welsh, you mean?
No, not because you're Welsh, because all your ancestors were wrong uns. I'm sure Mummy has really nice ancestors.
Because I'm Welsh. Dude. I really like that. That was thank you, R. Young, for sending that in. I love stuff like this. That was awesome. Oh man. Every once in a while I'll react to something and I feel like it's like a 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 chance that somebody is taking a dig at taking a dig at Wales and the Welsh. But if I know the Welsh, and I've come to know some through the course of this channel, I don't know a group of people that take a joke better than they do. The Welsh are awesome people. They really are. It's hilarious. I mean, I do live streams sometimes, and like somebody in the chat, not every time, but sometimes somebody will break out, you know, talking some trash about Wales, and a Welsh person will chime in and throw it right back at them. It's hilarious, and I love to see it. It's kind of like watching a family argument. You know what I mean? I guess it's probably not the best comparison, but it'd be like, you know, if somebody from Florida making fun of somebody from California. I do that. I make fun of California a lot in my private time. I make fun of Texas too. I make fun of New York too as well, but I'll answer that in a minute. But anyway, I had a really good time watching that. These Who Do You Think You Are episodes, they're probably very interesting and shed some light on the backgrounds of a lot of people. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you want to see more reactions to stuff like this, please let me know, because I really enjoyed that. Anyway, much love, and I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you again soon. Peace.